Yo, what's poppin', people? Cobra Star Green back with you another video there. Look, y'all first time finding our channel. Ain't that for your boy? Please hit the subscribe button. Also, like the video. Yes, today's the day. Now, I will just say this: if you guys have not seen this movie or anything like that, don't want to be spoiled. Please click away and come back to when you have seen it. I am dropping this review before the movie comes out, but like I said, you don't gotta watch it until you see the movie. But we are going into full-on spoilers for, as you look above us, Dune Part 2. Yes, we can finally do it. We're gonna go deep. We're gonna just describe some things that happened. Now we can like really talk about some things we really want to talk about, but we had to save for this review. So we're just gonna have fun with this one. But go ahead and cue that intro.
Probably you. We got a problem. 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 Yeah, it's probably you. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem. Yeah, we got a problem. We got a problem.
All right, y'all. So let's just go ahead and get deep into it. Now, look, I'm gonna say this, get this out the way. Everybody says, a lot of people are saying this movie is a masterpiece. If y'all watched our review before, I didn't say it was a masterpiece, but I said it was close to a masterpiece. And the reason why I didn't say it was a masterpiece was because of that second act. I'll just say that second act kind of bothered me a little bit. There's just points where, like, the first act, it's like, yo, this movie is like, yo, we know why y'all are here. You know what I'm saying? We're giving you the good stuff. But once that second act hits, it kind of starts to slow down and it starts to lose momentum. And I'm talking about all the points before you kind of hit like that gladiator scene. I don't know if you want to go deeper onto that, Emery, but that's the part I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's a bit of meandering a little bit. And I think it's like this in the book as well, but sometimes it felt like there was a repetitious thing of like, well, here's what the character's thinking, and then the character glosses over it like two, three more times than they need to. There's other certain dream sequences that felt like redundant, and it's like this in the book as well. But again, like it didn't really jive for me personally. For instance, he has an image of the guy he killed from the last one, Germaeus, I think was his name.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
They do stuff like that where it's like, yeah, this feels like redundant, and I feel like I understand where the character's thought process is by this point. So it kind of meanders in this weird place where it's like the ending of Act 1 kind of drags into the beginning of Act 2. Yes. And there's like this feeling of like, okay, I get it. Let's go into the newer stuff, which we do get into a little bit later. Yeah, that's kind of the big criticism I have, where it's like in rewatches, I feel like I might appreciate it a little bit more. Maybe there's something I'm missing, but I can't imagine because it feels like I got the gist. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just now pretty much in the first act, pretty much Paul is just what he's getting with these sand people. That's what I call them. I like to call them the sand people.
The Fremen, yeah.
And that's pretty much what he's doing in like the whole entire first act. I'm like, all right, it's cool, this is working. But then it kind of just like keeps lingering there. You know what I'm saying? And it's like for a second, it feels like the plot's not moving. And that's the part that was kind of bothering me. I'm like, I need this moving, especially for a 2-hour and 45-minute movie. I need it moving. And I'll just say, it was maybe about 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. It wasn't even that much of the movie, but I just felt it at that specific point. But I'll tell you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, it felt like it was this was some of the cooler stuff. It explored more of like the Frenen's like thought process on the Messiah, him being the potential Messiah. There's two split groups, which actually in the book it wasn't like this. In the film, if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but the difference in adaptation is in the book they all believe in the Messiah. They believe in his potential. But in this film adaptation, there's two sides: non-believers and believers.
And believers, yeah.
So they work with that a little bit.
I'll say that. I like that. I like they did that though.
They explore some of the culture and some of how much they value water. Like for instance, like each dead person that they they put their water into this grand big like kind of river, lake, or whatever you want to call it. It's huge, and they're like, you can't drink this water because even if you're starving of thirst, like it's just sacred. You can't touch it. Yeah. So there's cool stuff like that. There's just a lot of world building in that first act and that second act, to where it almost felt like they repeated some things where it was just like, again, like, I feel like I know this already, let's move on. Like, yeah, it felt like they're still telling you what the culture is about, and it's like, I appreciate
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
it felt like the movie was kind of like repeating itself.
a little bit,
Yeah,
yeah, and
and
that's
I
where,
think that's just I
yeah.
think that's honestly what kind of just a little bit started bothering me. But like I
Mhm.
said, that was maybe like 15 minutes in the movie. I'm not no nitpicker. That's just something that bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Emery was right
Mhm.
next to me while I was watching the movie. I was in about to fall asleep. Was I? Was I not? During, during those parts.
I was, yeah, I was more engrossed, but I was also thinking to myself, come on, come on. I know you got
Mm-hmm.
better stuff to work with. Like, I know it's gonna cook, but I saw you were sleeping. I was afraid you were gonna fall asleep throughout the whole film, because I was like, oh my gosh, he's gonna miss the great stuff that this delivers
Bro,
because of this act. Yeah,
that
it
part
is.
just bothered
So I'm
me.
sorry that we're highlighting it and it feels like negative Nancy
Mm-hmm.
energy, but it is one of those moments where I'm like, oh man, like this could put people to sleep and they can miss out on really great material here. Yeah.
And like I said, and as soon as that was over, it transitioned to one of my best, one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Man, that goddamn gladiator scene when we get introduced to Austin Butler's character. Oh my, that movie. That's when I'll just say that. That's when I officially woke up, was that scene right there. When we get the
Yeah.
introduction of his character, you see how ruthless Austin Butler's character is, how evil his character is. That's when I was like, all right, I'm on board with this. He that's
Yeah.
what I think that's why I say he's my favorite character in the movie.
Yeah.
Like
The world of
he
Giddy
did so much for
Prime.
me. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, not just him, but I just wanted to like obsess over the way it's shot, the way the world is built.
Mm-hmm.
The Giddy Prime, the black and white setting, it doesn't feel like I'm just watching like something in a black and white filter. It feels like we're on the planet Giddy Prime,
Right.
and the black sun is like, everything's beautifully shot. Everything feels so real. Um, the gladiator matches, the fight choreographed, the weird little aliens that like, it's so cool. It's just, yeah, I
Man,
loved everything about it.
that's when I knew, because okay, when you get introduced to Austin Butler character, yeah, he's in a gladiator scene. He pretty much has to fight like these other people. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And he beats the living shit out of everybody pretty much. It's just like, and it's the last dude. He's like, man, he put up a good fight. And he just kills this guy too. I was like, yo, this dude's evil. I'm like, who? I'm sitting there like, who is gonna stop this guy?
Well, it's part of like what I like about the character is that there's a pure evil sociopathic energy with the character, but the you can tell it was raised and instilled in him.
Mm-hmm.
But part of the culture is also a matter of respect to the people who were like brilliant fighters, whether or not they lost or whether or not they won. Like,
You gotta still
he
show
always
respect.
gives respect. You were a great fighter, great challenger.
Mm-hmm.
Even in his dying words, yeah, I really like that character because it really just feels like this character wasn't evil for the sake of evil. You could just tell that was a built-in thing for like not only him but the culture and the world and what it's built on. You just learn more about the culture as you learn more about the character. Yeah.
Oh my gosh! And I was say, well, since we're already on these characters, let's go ahead and just really talk about them. Austin Butler, David Bautista. I'm gonna talk about these two really quickly. So Dave Bautista, I felt like I said in the other review, I felt like he was weak in this movie. I felt like how he died in this movie was kind of weird too. Like how he died, it was kind of like Josh Brolin. What was his name? Josh Brolin's character. I forgot his name, but it was just like,
Gertie.
huh?
Gertie.
Gertie. It was just like Gertie just killed this dude like within 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, in the book, it's actually a worse death for that Drax's character. He dies off screen, like, or like off
Mm,
page. Like, they make a mere mention. So uh, for context as well, I believe they say it in the first film, but it's definitely in the books. Like, Gertie was like a prisoner, a slave
yeah,
of
yeah,
like some of
yeah.
the Harkonnen, especially to him. He
Mm-hmm.
was like fucked around with him. So Gertie gets revenge basically there.
But
So
I thought,
yeah,
cause you know Dave Batista, I thought it'd be more of a fight. I would say, I thought they just kind of
yeah, I thought
rushed
so
that, cause
too.
I'm like, bro, Dave Batista's at least his character is a warrior in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a fighter. So I'm like, all right, this should be what we got in the third act from Paul and Austin Butler's character. That's what we should have got. I thought that's what we should have got. That kind of around that same exact fight. You have two warriors fighting it out, but it was kind of like nah, just Gurney just killed him instantly. I was like, what the hell? Especially
Yeah,
because
the character feels like a um I don't like any. Well, I'm gonna use the word commentary. It feels like a commentary on like the Harkonnen's brutality of anyone that is failing. So there's like a little mini story within that character of like what it's like to actually fail, no matter how hard you try.
man, but he was
You,
failing the whole
you will
movie
be you will
though.
be treated like you are lesser, and so that's kind of like the path that character goes.
But he was feeling like the entire man, I hated. I ain't gonna lie, like I just hated his character in this movie. It was like, man, they, early on, like everybody's just bullying this dude. Like man,
Yeah.
saying my line or not? Austin Butler,
No, you're not.
early
He
on,
made
bro,
him. Yeah,
he humiliated Dave Bautista in front of everybody,
yeah.
bro. I'm
He
like, you
made
can't
him
go out like
kiss
that.
his.
Talking
He
about
made him
making him
kiss his
kiss his shoe and shit. Ain't no
boob.
fucking
Yeah.
way, bro.
He
I'm
said
like, I
either
ain't
you
going out like
die or
that. Go ahead.
you. Either you die or you're kissing my boob.
Bro, okay, you gonna have to kill me, goddammit. Bro, I'm not going out like that, bro. And it's just, like I said, I was just feeling for him. I was just the entire movie I'm feeling for this dude. I'm just hoping like, yo, fuck it, maybe he gets his revenge at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Austin Butler got his back turned. He's like, you know what I'm saying? Hit him in the, you know what I'm saying? But no, we didn't get none of that. It was just like he just died. I was like, what the hell?
how'd you feel about Atreides realizing he was a Harkonnen?
So if you guys don't know, we're talking about Paul Atreides, Timothy Chalamet's character. Um, it kind of, you know what it reminded me of, and people are gonna hate me that I say this. It reminded me of Star Wars whenever what was her name? Ray. When she
Figures
found
out
out she was
she's
Palpatine,
yeah,
it
yeah.
kind of reminded me of that. I was like, oh
It's
no.
actually
But I'll
it's
just say,
actually a good version of that
yeah, I
though.
was like, you know what? I'll say that it was actually done a lot better in this movie than it was in Star Wars. Because Star Wars, you just was like, yo, fuck this. You know what I'm saying? Like once you heard that, you were like, yo, f this. Y'all didn't know what y'all was doing here. I just kind of just wrote this. But in this
Yeah,
one, it seemed like it fit here. You know what I'm saying? Like it flowed a lot better when they introduced that whole entire plot point. And it actually gave them another reason to like go get revenge. So that's why I was like, I
yeah.
like what they did. I like what they did there. I want to talk
Uh,
about.
I,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quickly. The more I think about it, I was like, I like the idea of like Atreides being the chosen one. He's more of a mixture of so many different. He was born into like a Atreides household,
Hmm.
like born into that lifestyle of riches and being a duke or whatever. But he had to learn like from the Bene Gesserit, and then he has the blood of like a Harkonnen, like a brutal like
Right.
warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's like the
I like
best
that
of all.
mixture
He's like the best of all worlds.
are the potential the best of all. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So what did you think about his mother, Lady Jessica? What did you
You
think about
know,
her, Rebecca
what
Ferguson?
she's just scheming and plotting the entire
Bro,
time.
oh my
Like,
god! Like the entire movie. Like I
yeah,
was with her the first movie, and then like the first half of the second one. And I'm just like, after a while, I'm like, fuck her. I was like, get rid of her too. It's like,
yeah. Well, it's like a survival thing as well because it's like we
mm-hmm.
have to do this because like otherwise we might. I think they even if I remember Stilgar. Yeah, Stilgar is basically like, yeah, do you want to do this? And it's like, well, what's my other choice? Well, you can get kicked out and die in the desert. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
like,
she had
well,
to.
yeah, it's kind of a survival. You got because they all believe in, or there's a certain portion that believe in the Messiah, and you got to fulfill that role and really like convince everyone because that's what you're here surviving for. Yeah, so I understood her Yeah.
And it was, I mean, and that's when they also with her character they also introduced this thing called it's like this, what's it, blue water, right, or something. It's like, but if
Mhm.
you take it, like you're supposed to die. You're gonna die if you take it. But she doesn't end up dying, and so does Paul. Both of them take it. They both don't end up dying when they take it. But they also see like visions when they take it.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I could be wrong. They say in the movie that it's like a male cannot is not supposed to be able to take that. They like basically die. A
Okay.
woman can take it, but she was also pregnant, so there was still a risk of dying, but you were more likely to survive. Um, and yeah, it's just kind of I think after taking that, basically it I could be wrong. I may have misinterpreted, but I'm pretty sure that's what kind of activated some sort of thing in her body that made her be able to communicate with the baby. Like the
Yeah.
baby,
Okay.
like gains all the memories of her and how to talk to her, and so basically, like in the book, the baby is born and uh, like the baby's actually out there talking or whatever. It's really weird. But in this, it's like communicated in a telepath kind of sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring that up next. I'm like, so the whole entire movie, Rebecca Ferguson's character, Lady Jessica, she's pretty much like talking to her belly the entire movie. She's talking to her baby the entire movie, and like at first I was like, all right, it's kind of cool. This is interesting. I
Yeah.
haven't seen something like this before, and then like they just keep doing it. I'm like, all right, it's kind of getting weird now. I don't know. Like I think the more it played out, the more kind of weird it got. Cause I'm like, she's taking a
Yeah.
whole lot
It's
of advice from this goddamn baby. This baby ain't even seen life yet, and she's taking a whole lot of advice from it. She's taking like
well,
life or death advices too.
the baby's like playing a little Game of Thrones as well with the mother of like, this is what we got to do, Paul. Like, where's your
Yeah,
mindset at, Paul? What are we doing? Yeah.
I'm
It's
like, damn. I'm
interesting.
like, she got so much amount of faith in this goddamn baby. I'm like, goddamn, that baby,
I'm pretty
that baby gonna be the chosen one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but especially in Messiah, the baby's already born by then. I haven't gotten to the part where they got more in depth on that character, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna have Anna Taylor Joy, who showed up in this
Oh
very
yeah, yeah,
briefly.
yeah. She was in this.
I think
She's
she'll
in
be
there
in
for
the
a
next
second
one.
though. She's not in there long.
Well, yeah, it's like communicating like the future self of her, like basically within Paul's mind, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah, and then also really quickly, like last probably character we'll get on before we move on to like the third act and stuff like that. Florence Pugh. Look, you don't get a lot of her in this movie. I ain't gonna lie. I think that's because they are saving her for the next movie. But like here, I thought you get some of her in the beginning and then some of her in the end, but you don't really get that much. You know what I'm saying? Like she doesn't have as
yeah.
much to do in this movie that as I thought
It's,
she would.
it's the
It's like
same
her and
with
Christopher
the
Walken, the
Emperor.
Emperor, like they get the same amount of screen time. They don't get too
Yeah,
much.
like they're major characters, but they're not as in this as much because like that's not part of the story. If that makes sense. Like
Yeah,
it's not
this is
like
not their
a
story.
major element, but like you're gonna get more of them in the next installment because there's so many other things to focus on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think they'll be like in their forefront in the next ones. In the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All of
let's
them did
go
great.
ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bro.
I mean they all did
Every actor in this
great
movie.
with what they were. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was like, every actor in this movie did a fantastic job, and that's man, you got to give kudos to the director at that point because he knew how to direct every single one of these actors. Who's it? Dennis? What's his last name? I don't know how to say his last name.
Denise
D-
Villeneuve. I believe that's how it's pronounced.
yeah, I was like, I
Denise
do not know how to say
Villeneuve.
his last name. He's worked on you. You
Yeah.
were telling me Blade Runner. You got a Rival. Um, what's some other ones?
Sicario.
Sicario. He did both of them, right? One and
Prisoners.
two.
Part one and two of Dune. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but he's done a lot of stuff, and you were saying that you felt like this Dune was his best movie. You felt like, or you think Blade Runner?
I I'm having a hard time deciding which one because this is really good. It might be his best film, but I'm deciding between that and 2049. I got to get more rewatches in of this though, but it's very close. It's very close.
Yeah, but let's go ahead and talk
Um,
about that third act, man. I think the third act is why everybody says this movie's a masterpiece. That third act did not have to be as good as it actually is. Man, it is so crazy. And it's like you feel invested when you're actually watching this fight like take place. It's a war pretty much at the end. It's the Sand People versus like the Harkonnens, right?
Yeah, the Fremen versus the, well, I don't even think it's the Harkonnens. I believe it's the Emperor's people. I forget what they're called, but I think there's a couple Harkonnens like the Baron in there.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah,
it's pretty
yeah.
much the Emperor's. It's pretty much the Emperor's army, if I recall correctly. I forget what they're called, but
I
yeah.
know I haven't seen this movie since like last week. I kind of forgot. But yeah,
Yeah,
there's
no, it's
this.
fine. I'm pretty sure that's what they are. Because I think the Harkonnens had different armor types
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
But
So
but there's this huge battle that takes place at the end of the movie, and it is so well choreographed, shot. I think it's amazingly paced. Like there's pretty much what happens is like it's crazy. I always call them the same people. I don't know what y'all want to call them. I know they probably call different names in the book. I call them the same people. I ain't read the book, but they're using the worms to their advantage.
oh
And
yeah,
it's
they had like three of them at least.
yeah,
Three
I think
big
I was
ass.
even showing
Yeah,
the trailer a little bit. But yeah,
yeah.
they have these three worms that they use to help them out, and it is just it's so cool to just look at, and you're consistently rooting for them at the same time. So it's like you feel like you have like stakes in this fight. You feel like you're supposed to be there rooting them on also, and it all leads up until like this last fight. And I gotta say, I think it's one of the best fights I have seen on for a movie. I'm talking about Paul Atreides and what is Austin Butler's character's goddamn name?
Trying to remember.
Yeah, I just call him a Harkonnen, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm blanking on the name right now,
Me
but
too.
yeah,
I don't even have my list in front of me, but those two have a fight at the end, and there's like you were saying, there's no music in it. It's just those two fighting, and it's just so well done that like at least from both actors that it took time to like get this all down, pretty much.
the
Like,
choreograph was really good. The fight choreograph was insane,
mm-hmm.
and also like the lack of music really like emphasized the weight of the fight. Oddly enough, and there was a lot of emotion within like the people surrounding them watching this fight unfold. There's emotion for different various reasons. For instance, Shani, played by Zendaya, she just feels this like amount of emotion for like what his future, like what path he's taking.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
like maybe that like she feels like this like envy also as well because he'll have to take the princess's hand and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's and then obviously for the emperor's life and tons of other different things. Yeah, it's it's jam packed with like an emotion there. It's not
Bro,
just the fight in itself and its fight choreographed. It's like all of the feelings, all everything like led up to this moment. Yeah.
yeah, and just like you said, so what happens in this final fight is that Paul Atreides ends up winning. He ends up killing Austin Butler, and pretty much is that he's like, look, or no, what's her name? Princess.
Aurelian. I
Really,
think
it was
her
like,
name is
look,
Aurelian.
hey, look, spare spare the emperor. You know what I'm saying? Spare him, spare my father, and I'll take your hand. And that's pretty much what happens with those two. And then he's like,
Yeah.
all right, bet. And then what also another thing that happens with that is Zendaya, what's her name? Channing? Is that her name?
Channing. Yeah.
Channing. She gets mad because she like knows where this is leading to, pretty much. So she runs off and she like does her own thing. And we'll talk about what she does at the end of the movie because she has the absolute last scene of the movie. So we'll talk about that in a second. But she runs off because she's full of emotions because what the hell she's witnessing right now. You got Paul Atreides kind of turning into like an anti-hero a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I think. What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's more of like it's hard to describe, but yeah, it's sort of like becoming almost the villain of your own story, but
Mm-hmm.
kind of understanding of like this is what he was made for, this is what he's been chosen for. He
Right.
actually believes this, even in this Dune Messiah book, he sincerely believes he's been chosen, bred for this. Like he doesn't have a choice in this matter, especially when he sees all these potential futures and he's got to navigate. So um, there's like a power corrupts thing, but
Mm-hmm.
there's also a very sympathetic angle to like, well, I kind of understand why you're like this, like because again, like you were raised and born into this,
You were,
and
yes,
like you
yeah.
see so many different futures like that. I think initially when you're watching the film, he doesn't really believe he's like the chosen one,
No, he
the Muhab
doesn't. He
Abi.
doesn't at all.
He doesn't. I don't think he does. But as time goes on, he starts believing it. And honestly, when you're watching the film and everything kind of aligns, and even when you're reading the book, you're like, well, he probably is. Like,
I mean,
because
like
it
early
seems
on,
like
like
it's going that way. So, like, you kind of believe it as a someone partaking in reading or watching the film. Yeah, like you kind of understand his thought process very clearly, and why believers believe what they believe. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy because like early on, they're like some people were saying like, "Yo, he's the Messiah," and you have other people saying like, "No, he's not the Messiah," and he doesn't even know what side to even pick. He doesn't know. He's just like,
Mhm.
man, I'm just here, man. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
y'all put on this weight on my goddamn
it's
shoulders.
it's funny too because he was saying to his mother, he was like, I think when he was on board, he was like, "Yeah, we gotta convince him I'm the Messiah,"
Yeah,
because it's like a survival thing. But like as he's um, falling in love with Shani and learning more about the Fremen and stuff like that, I think there's like I think there's a bit of guilt, and also like there's this respect he has for them where he
hmm
feels like, well, like if I actually don't believe I'm lead these people, maybe I am.
yeah,
It's honestly so riveting. It's like interesting storytelling. Yeah.
and it's pretty much like you have to just believe in yourself. That's kind of what I got from it. At the end of the day, like I got a life lesson from watching Dune. Believe in your
Well,
goddamn self. Bet against your bet with yourself.
it's like a comment on determinism and like what fate is and stuff like that as well. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but they do such a great job with it. I think another complaint. I mean, another compliment. I want to give this movie compliment. Is the costumes that are presented in this movie. Man, everybody has some great looking costumes. None of them look cheap. None of them look like they just did it the day before. They all look and they all look different from the next. So it's like you know they put time into these costumes. You know that it was a whole thought process to create these things. How'd you feel about the
The,
costumes?
the costumes are fantastic. The set design is like basically perfect. I can't think of any like things where I was like, I don't believe I'm in this world or I don't believe I'm in this
No,
moment.
I you 100%. But this just the way it's shot. You believe you're there.
Oh, I wanted to comment on it earlier, but I didn't want to sidetrack from our focus on the third act. But one of my favorite moments in the film, honestly, and I think this is part of the first act coming into the second act, but the moment where he's learning to ride the most giant worm.
Oh yeah, yeah. To my Paul Atreides.
Man,
Yeah.
that on paper, somehow in my mind that sounds boring, but watching it is
You
like
know what?
that's
I think I know
ways.
why it might seem boring to you because we've seen it before. We've seen our hero go through training, and he might even do like the thing that no one else can say is done, right?
Yeah.
But it was just I think that way they did it in this movie, it looks so goddamn cool. Like he's riding a
Well,
freaking worm.
it looks cool, but it also looks like, yeah, you have to be pretty strong willed, let alone strong to be able to actually do this. You have to
Right,
earn this. Like it's like he's fighting against like a sand blizzard or something.
bro.
Desert storm. Yeah, like to be able to even attempt to do this. Yeah. So
It's funny because when you first watch the scene, the what's this guy's name? Man, I loved him in the movie, but I forget his real life name. His name is Stigler in the movie.
still going.
Stilgard.
Javier Bardem.
Yeah,
Javier
he
Bardem.
was my favorite,
Yeah.
one of my favorite characters. But like in the scene where Paul Trade about to ride this worm, like he doesn't even believe that he can really ride a worm like that. And then once he
Mhm.
get it, he's like, "Yo, call a big one, call a big one." And then Paul ends up calling the biggest of worms. He was like, "Okay, not that goddamn big." You know what I'm saying? So I was like, "Yo, like
Yeah.
this works. This works here."
Yeah, they were making jokes. They were like, "Yeah, like call big one," and he's like, "Yeah, no, don't go that big." And it's like when the big one starts approaching, he's like, "Oh man, this is too much probably for like a first timer, especially learning." And it's like once Paul Atreides is learning and successfully doing it, he's like, I think that was like the final thing that needed to like fully 100% be on board. That's
Hmm.
the Messiah. That's the Messiah. He learned
Hmm.
our ways really fast. He's doing all these. Yeah, it was so cool. Yeah, I love that moment. Oh, can I speak on a little bit of the comedy? There's
Yeah.
like moments of levity, and it feels like within the world where it doesn't feel like it's like a, you know how so like some films, like MCU films, for instance, where it's like we're doing a stand-up moment right here, and it's like, okay, come on,
Yeah.
come on, this
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
feel like what the character would actually say. This doesn't feel part of the world. In this, it's like if there's a moment of levity or a moment of comedy, it feels very natural. Like Stilgar
Hmm.
is the funniest character in the film, I think, but he feels very natural. There's very natural comedic elements
Hmm.
to yeah.
Nah, man. That's one thing that really surprised me watching Dune because I don't even remember the first Dune me laughing like that. Like I was generally laughing in this movie, and it's probably just because I didn't see it coming at all. I'm like, Dune's a serious ass goddamn movie, and it was just like,
Yeah.
yo, they really got me with the comedy too. I think that was the most surprising thing in this whole entire movie, at least for me, was just the
Well, yeah,
comedy.
it's not. It well, it's just very little comedy, but like when it hits, it's like,
But it
oh yeah,
hits.
that was funny, that was
That's
humor. I like
see
that. That's a good
a lot
moment.
of movies are like the same way, and they'll throw their comedy in there, but it won't hit.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you're like, nah, just stick to being goddamn serious. I don't need no jokes. But here, I did not mind the jokes at all. I was like,
Yeah.
these don't distract me from the movie, none like that. These work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
I just did not see that coming at all. That was the most surprising factor for this movie for me.
Yeah.
So last point I at least want to talk about before we get to like predictions for the next movie. So the ending shot is pretty much Zendaya's character, and she's calling up on the whole entire. Let me break this down. The whole entire fight happened with Paul Atreides and Austin Butler's character, and Paul won. And you know he's going off. I said it earlier. He's going off with Princess Iran. What's her name? Eileen.
Irulian, I think.
Eileen. Yeah, she's going off with. Or he's going off with her. And like I said, Zendaya's mad about it. Zendaya character's mad about it. What's her name? What's her name?
Shanny.
Chinny. Yeah, Chinny. I didn't want to say her name wrong. Like, yo, I'm gonna be real. If I'm saying the actors' names instead of saying their character name, it's because I don't want to say their names. I don't want to say the characters' names wrong to disrespect
I,
like the Dune
I,
lore.
I want to emphasize if we forget names or anything
And
like that,
I don't
or
have no
like
list near me either.
some of it is because, well, like even for me as a book reader, it's like there's a lot of different weird sounding names. There's a lot of different things going
Yeah.
on, so it can be overwhelming at times, especially if you're like Julian, who only like just watched the part two like last week. Yeah, so forgive us if we don't have all the names
I know,
and
yeah,
stuff like
and
that.
it's
Like my mom.
and usually like I'll have my names, but I have the notes here, so the names I don't have the
Yeah,
cast in front of me, so I'm kind of just going off my memory and just hoping that I'm getting some of them right.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
but yeah, just y'all forgive me, y'all forgive me. Like so I said, like if I said earlier Austin Butler and instead of saying his character, it's just I'm not trying to disrespect the Dune name pretty much.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
going back to Zendaya at the end of the movie is she's calling on the worms. Now, what do you think is gonna happen with that? Do you think? Because I had two things playing off in my mind, but I don't think it's the first thing. First thing I was thinking of was she is sacrificing herself. She was like, I don't want to do this more. I don't want to live. That I know. I
No, not at
immediately threw
all.
that out the window. I was like, that's not what's happening at all. The second thing, I kind of, well, I don't know. Now I'm back and forth with it because I thought because she wants to ride one of the bulls, but like why? Or why one of the worms? But like why?
So, from what I took for like, let's throw out Doom Messiah, which I started reading.
Hmm.
I'm throwing that out, but for an interpretation of, say, like this was the last movie for this iteration, part two. There, say there wasn't another film. There is going to be another film,
Oh,
but
for sure,
let's
for
say there
sure.
wasn't. For an interpretation, you could say that, but my interpretation would be like just as simple as I'm calling the worm. I'm escaping from this moment of like
Getting away from here.
seeing Atreides kind of do something that I feel is disgusting or like betraying like what the Fremen stand for, stuff like that. Um, yeah, that's how I took it. Basically, is like I'm calling for a worm just to escape this moment, kind of thing. Yeah, something as simple as that. Yeah, but in Dune Messiah, in which Denise is adapting, it's going to be a while before that movie. It takes place, I think, 12 years after the original Dune story. It's a controversial book in terms of, well, not controversial in the sense that it's disappointing to some people. It's a bit of a crazy story. But in the first part, we do have confirmation that in the story that Shani is still with Atreides. He has hand in marriage with Princess Aurelian, but they are not in love. They're not with child or anything like that. He's with Shani emotionally. It's just so. I imagine in the next one, she will still be with him if they follow the book,
Yeah.
which I imagine they will. So yeah.
Yeah, okay. Let's just break it. Let's go on our predictions. So you
Yeah.
read the book. I have not at all. I've not read any of the Dune books or anything like that. Love the movies, but I haven't read the book. What do you think this movie? Where do you think it goes from here? Like your straight predictions, like Dune Part 3 predictions.
So again, I'm only 60 pages in the book. From what I can gather, I think they will follow a very. I'm just gonna go with like some of the intro things I read, but then go off into a whole
Off your
other territory
speculation.
of
Yeah.
where it could go possibly. So my guess is that with the intro, it leads into they're plotting right now. Princess Aurelian, the Bene Gesserit, whoever else has felt that Paul Atreides hasn't done really a good job, or just for the sake of power, like the Bene Gesserit has always been concerned with. They're conspiring right now to get rid of him on the throne.
Right.
So right now they're trying to work on a plan, like, and that's going to be a very convoluted thing to do, especially if you're working against somebody who can predict multiple different futures and stuff like that. So you have to operate with like a certain understanding. So there's going to be like a level of conspiracy within this film. There's going to be a lot of paranoia. There's going to be a lot of Paul Atreides, probably within that paranoia, abusing his power in some way, shape, or form, even making worse decisions, either for himself or for the Fremen or for anyone else. There will be a lot of people who probably stop believing in the Muhusab Abdi. There will be fanatics who believe in him and stay loyal no matter what, like Stilgar. Stilgar is still with him. One of the things that I've been reading, I'm only taking a guess. I don't know this for certain. But in the introduction, they've been talking about. Remember Jason Momoa's character in the first one?
Yeah.
Duncan.
Yeah.
They in the book, they retrieved his body.
Okay.
They retrieved his body, and I think what they're planning on doing is resurrecting like a like zombie-esque version of him. That's what it sounds like they're doing to train a army of their own to go against Paul Atreides. So
okay,
that's
now
one.
that would be
one,
cool. That would be
That's
if,
one
if
element
done right. That'd be cool.
That's one element where I'm like, this could be hit or miss in the actual movie, but it would be cool to see Jason Momoa again in
Yeah,
some
but
like
I liked his character in the first
weird
movie.
zombification mode. It'd be interesting to see what they do with that. Yeah,
I like Jason Momoa's character in the first movie. I was sad I was sad he died.
Yeah,
That's one when I
he
was
was a
like,
good
damn.
character. But yeah. Beyond that, I can't really predict too much farther. I think, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a wild world where there's twists and turns. I'm sure we'll see more of his sister grown up.
Oh
I
yeah,
think she'll
Anna
her
Taylor Joy.
her and Lady Jessica's mother will be doing something. It's a very big, expansive world, especially if you're taking 12 years later. Um, I think it's definitely just going to be like a fight for the throne, a fight for staying on the throne, a tale about what it means to actually willpower and how to handle it, responsibility, what fate is all about, determinism, all that stuff. That's kind of what the books are about in general. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy wild ride.
Let me ask you: do you think they're gonna full on like? I hope they do this. I hope they don't pull back on it or anything. But do you think they're gonna full
Mhm.
like lean on to like Paul Atreides just being a villain, at least in our eyes, like being like a straight up like, yo, this guy's gotta get stopped. You know what I'm saying? Like one of
I can
those
tell you right now. I can tell you right now. You're definitely going to feel like he is more villainous, in the very least,
in the third one.
within the story. Because I know for a fact that most people, when they have read the book or they seen, yeah, it kind of is more so like you definitely sympathize with him, but you feel like he's making worse and worse choices. You feel like he becomes a worse person in a lot of different ways. Um, yeah, like it's kind of like that narrative of that man kind of like buying into his own hype kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah.
like pretty
Yeah.
much like if you remember that one Kanye West song, no one man should have all that power, pretty much. So
He's definitely a lot more emotionally vulnerable too. He's yelling a lot so far in this book. 60 pages in, not too far in, but he's already had like two major outbursts. I feel like from what I've read, where I'm like, this man, he feels like he's on the edge. He's really feeling the pressure.
man, and it's
Yeah,
crazy because I really want to see Timothy do it too, bro. I've seen this dude be a good guy way too many times in movies. He's so
yeah.
goddamn likable. All these movies make him super likable. Make him a fucking villain in the next one. Say F it, F it. I wanna, cause that'd be something new that I haven't seen, at least from him as an actor.
Yeah,
And go ahead.
it's a morally complex character, is what I would say. From what I remember, what people would say about him, and what I've been reading so far, and even in these Dune one and Dune two, even in Dune two, when he's talking to Lady Jessica about like, yeah, we got to manipulate these people to make them believe I'm the Messiah, so we could basically infer, so we could survive, just for survival reasons. He's already a pretty morally gray character at that point. And I think even further on, especially as he buys into his own hype, even though like there is a intent for good overall, he's definitely like I think willing to cross some major boundaries to be able to do what he feels is necessary. He'll make excuses for himself,
Right, yeah.
but he'll go into very probably even evil uh, actions just to feel like for the sake of like everyone else. Yeah, yeah.
Now, what do you think? Okay, because now all the Harkonnens, at least the main players, are all dead now. You have Dave that's dead. You got
The Baron's dead. Yeah.
Baron. The Baron's dead. Which we didn't even talk about. We didn't even talk about the Baron that much. Yeah, the Baron dies in this one too. Austin Butler died. So all the main players are dead. So like, who? I guess it will have to be Paul Atreides being the new villain. Then it'll have to be, unless they just create a new one.
Um. Yeah. I almost kind of want to say, because this is like such a complex world, that your protagonist can always be a villain still, or an
Yeah,
anti-hero,
if done
someone
right.
very
If
morally
done right.
complex. For example, like Breaking Bad, Walter White is a very basically anti-hero turned villain. Or like Light Yagami, who's basically like almost a villain immediately, but you're following him. He's the protagonist. Um, so yeah, I feel like, but in this world, just like in Game of Thrones, the world of Game of Thrones, there are no real heroes or villains, not really. Um, so I think it'll be more like Game of Thrones, where while Paul Atreides is your protagonist, there's a lot to sympathize with him. You can understand him a lot more.
You can
You
see
might
where he's
even
coming from.
say, you might even, you could maybe even make an argument that overall he is a hero. but he's definitely going to do some evil things,
Oh,
and
I
there's going
hope
to be a lot of
so.
other people.
Oh,
Yeah,
and you don't know how bad I want them to just lean into it. Just do it. You ain't gotta do it the whole movie. Just lean into
mhm,
it for like, give me
yes,
an hour. Give me an hour. All I ask for is just an
yeah,
hour of him being fucking evil. That's all I ask for.
yeah.
Just like I'm saying, you tease it at the end of part two. You gotta lean into it in part three. That's all I'm asking for. Just because I haven't seen him act that way before. I've never
I
seen
think
him
one
in
of
the
my
anti.
favorite.
Huh?
I think one of my favorite scenes in Dune Part Two as well. There's a lot of good scenes,
Bro,
but
there's
when
so many good scenes.
when
I think the
he's
ending my ending
making,
was my favorite. The
yeah,
ending fight was my favorite. But go ahead.
yeah, he's got like the whole Fremen, like a whole bunch of them surrounding him, and he's making this large, gigantic speech,
Hmm.
and then he starts it off with like being like hella cocky and just being like, "I'm the shit," like I am your leader, and then some of them are willing to like raise up their like, "Let's battle," and he's like, I'm telling you your whole life story right now. You did this because this and this and this and
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah,
I know you.
yeah.
Yeah, dude, that moment alone, I was like, bro,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, he's just,
yes, it was crazy how
he's,
it was. 'Cause
yeah,
everybody was like kneeling and stuff, and he's like, "I know how you." I was like, "Oh shit!" I was like, "Oh, oh," and
yeah.
it's crazy because it
The
was like
way,
people he didn't even know like that.
yeah,
It wasn't like he. It wasn't like this movie came out this year. It's not like the Book of Clarence. Well, he where
he's just
he
talking to some rando.
yeah, it
He's
was
talking to
somebody he
some
didn't
rando.
even
Yeah.
know. He didn't even know that person like that, and he still was able to tell him like, "Yo, this is what happens in your future." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Yo, yo, yo!" I'm like, "Yo, me next, me next."
Well, he was just talking about people's past, especially where he's like,
Oh
you
yeah, what
you think
happened?
like
Yeah.
this because of this, and I'm the one who can get you to this part or whatever. Yeah, like, it's crazy. Like, and I like the way it's shot too because there's some cool sequences where I didn't even think of it at first, but somebody pointed out where it's like he's like, I think he was leaving it. But like the way it's shot is up above,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a swarm of people, and the way it's shot, it looks like a grain of like huge grains of sand.
Mm-hmm.
Like the yeah, you just have to. Oh my god, it's so cool.
It just and it's so
Yeah,
dope
there's
to look
so
at.
many. Yeah,
But man,
so many good shots.
wrapping it up, man. Because I give this movie 9 out of 10. I still stand by my 9 out of 10 rating. I think it's great. If you've seen it, you know it's great. I don't think it's a masterpiece, but it's very close to a masterpiece. I feel like definitely the best movie I've seen so far this year, and it probably will be my favorite movie of the year. Who knows? But yeah, there's so many things that went right for this movie, very little that went wrong. So at the end of the day, I loved it. I will go see it again, just don't know when. I was supposed to go see it again yesterday, but something happened and stuff happened. I ain't feel like doing it. But I love the film nonetheless, and it's crazy because like I'm not even a. I wouldn't even say like before this movie. I wouldn't even say like I was a big Dune fan, especially just seeing the first movie. I was just like, all right, this
Yeah,
Dune
yeah,
franchise is all right. I was like, all right, okay. But like watching this one, like yo, I'm on board with this Dune lore, with this Dune franchise. Whatever else they got spinoffs, I want to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like I heard they got spinoffs with the sisters or something that's
yeah.
coming
I think
out.
they're gonna go into more Benny Jesuit stuff, but there hasn't been too many updates on that. We'll see where that goes.
But yeah, I just
Um,
everything I see, I love. So I don't know how do you feel.
So yeah, definitely better than part one. I
Definitely,
remember
yeah,
you were
definitely.
saying, yeah, I wasn't super on board, big franchise, even after part one, and that's mainly because part one is again like a big setup film, and while it was really a great experience, it was also like one of those things where it's like there's a lot to be desired, is the best way to put it. So this is just part one, but like giving you much more of what needed to be there in the first place, and like delivering on like a lot of good plot twists, a lot of good character development, just a lot of good great action spectacle, like even like the greater moments of IMAX sequences where this has to be
Hmm.
seen on the first one, even greater sequences like that where I was like, man, they topped so many different things. So yeah, like I really one day I hope they would do like this part one, part two experience of putting them in an IMAX screen. And if I had like
You know how
just a
lit that be?
gigantic block of time, if I had a gigantic block of time, I kind of want to just sit and watch part one and part two back to back. That'd be really cool. Sound design, incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just like man, like the more I want to lean into a 10-10 is just if that second act didn't drag, oh, it would be basically a 10-10, but it's very close, 9.5, yeah.
Yeah, and that is our ratings for the film. We both loved it. I think it's my favorite movie of the year so far. How you?
Yeah, I don't see it being topped. Yeah, even if I find Deadpool 3 more entertaining, it definitely won't be a better movie
Better story.
objectively.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, but
story here
yeah,
was
no.
phenomenal. Hey,
Amazing experience, yeah.
yeah, hey, but we want to know your guys' thoughts. Did you guys like it? Did you guys not like it? We want to know your thoughts down below. If there was anything we missed, put it in the comment section, and we'll talk about it there. We'll respond to your comment there. But hey, if it's your first time finding our channel, hit the subscribe button, like the video. Emma, where can they find you?
Oh, right now you can't, but
Yeah.
we'll see. I'm gonna be streaming sometime in the future. I gotta get my stuff fixed, but I will have an account to link in the future. So
All right.
maybe the next two videos. Yeah.
But our first time finding our channel, hit the subscribe button. Like the video really does help. And we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.